Yes, my dear friends, we will continue to talk on the issue of Christianity is a stinky and garbage religion. This will be our next video. Mirza Ghulam Ahmad says in his book Nurul Quran, volume 9, page 26, index, Christianity is number one to speak out lie in the world. Further, he says in Malfuzat, volume 5, page 18, it is a fact that the Christians had never wasted a moment to annihilate Islam. Whenever they had the ability, they cut down the tree of Islam with their axe. Further, he writes in his book Arya Dharma, volume 8, volume 10, page 296. Had the crucifixion of Jesus been out of his own sweet will, then it amounts to suicide and forbidden death. And in case the crucifixion was against his desire, then atonement is not allowable. The reason that why Jesus did not call himself boys, because people knew that he was drunkard and Jesus was of immoral character, not after his claim of being God, but right from the beginning. Thus his claim of being God is the perverse outcome of his alcohol consumption. Further, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani says in Malfuzat, volume 3, page 170, Christianity is a boil filled with filthy infectious substance. Now the time is right that this boil would burst and its internal filth sprout forth. Then he writes in his book Daf al-Bala, volume 18, page 240, forget about the son of Mary, Ghulam Ahmad is better than him. Him means Jesus, son of Mary. These are not poetic verses, but they are real. They are for real, as per written script. I would deem liar if I don't enjoy greater sport of God as opposed to Jesus, son of Mary. Then he writes in his book Itmam al-Hujjat, volume 8, page 299, Jesus Christ's grave is located in Syria. If you say that grave is fictitious, then you should provide evidence with respect to the fabrication. Here I will ask you to pay attention a little bit that he is asking that he's telling that the Jesus grave is located in Syria, and if anyone says that this is fictitious, then you have to provide him the proof that this is the fabrication. But look how ignorant he was. Look, what was his state of mind? Because he writes in his next book, and he provides himself that he was the liar, he was the fabricator. He doesn't, no one else is bound to provide, because he himself is providing in his book. Look what he writes in his book Masih Hindustan Mein, volume 15, page 55. He writes, Jesus Christ's grave is located in Srinagar, Kashmir. In Itmam al-Hujjah, he says that the grave of Jesus Christ is in Syria, and he says if anybody have any doubt or they think this is fictitious, then they should provide the evidence that this is wrong, this is fabricated. But in his next book he writes himself and he says, yeah, his grave is in Srinagar, so how it could be two, whereas he mentioned in his books the grave at the 3 places instead of 2. The same time he writes, he says in Malfuzat, volume 3, page 313, he says only the person can make Islam victorious who take Messiah to his grave. Now, the victory of Islam, he is saying, is conditional with the death of Messiah, and whoever will take Messiah to the grave, he will be the victor. He will be the one who will give the victory to Islam. Now, my question, to which grave we should take to Messiah? The Syrian grave or to the Srinagar, Kashmir grave? In which grave we should bury the Jesus? Can you tell? Further, my friends, now listen that Mirza Ghulam Ahmad's son, Mirza Bashiruddin Mahmud, who was the second successor, he writes in his commentary of Quran in Tafsir Kabir, volume 6, on page 197, 198. Now look at the hatred, look at that, what Ahmadis think about the Jews and Christians, how much they love Christians, and what they think, and according to the Ahmadis, what is the status of Christians and the Jews. On top of that, what they think about those Muslims, those Ahmadis, to whom they call the Ahmadi Muslims, that if they will make any Jew or Christian friend, then what will be their status in the eye of God? Let's see, let's listen what his son says. Mirza Bashiruddin Mahmud writes in his Tafsir Kabir, volume 6, page 197, 198. Jews and Christians will make huge luring schemes to put before you so that you follow them. But it is my advice to you, don't even think they are your friends. Their schemes are exclusively for their own interest. They must be receiving some sort of benefits out of these schemes. But these schemes would never be beneficial to you in any way. Bear in mind that if anyone among you befriended them, he is clearly not a Muslim in the eyes of God. He writes, bear in mind that if anyone among you befriended them, he is clearly not a Muslim in the eyes of God. Such person is either a Jew or Christian. So he is telling that if anybody makes Christian or Jew a friend or become a friend with them, then he will be not a Muslim in the eyes of God, number one. Then what he will be, that Muslim will be considered as a Jew or Christian. Now the question is this one, why the Ahmadis and their successors, their Khalifas, they hate Jews and Christians so much, whereas they are enjoying all the benefits from them. They are getting all help from the Jews and the Christians. But at the same time, in their books, even the West should be very, very careful that whatever they say, they don't mean it. But in their books, in their heart, in their mind, their intentions are not those what they say. Inside they have something else, which I have just presented to you. That the son of Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani, the second successor of him, writes in his Tafsir Kabir, he says, if any Muslim becomes a friend with a Jew and Christian, then he will not be a Muslim in the eyes of God, and such person will be considered as a Jew or Christian. Why he has so much hate about the Christians and the Jews? Can you Ahmadis please think and ask your present Khalifa that why Ahmadiyya founders and his successors, why they hate so much with the Jews and the Christians, whereas they are enjoying all the benefits from the Jews and the Christians. Is it fair? Is this the right thing? It's not a hypocrisy. It's not a cruelty. think about yourself. Ask the question. And then you decide whether Jews and Christians deserve your hate. It's up to you.